Hello, how you doing? Hope you're okay in these weird times. So, as some of you may or may not know, I'm a vocal coach as well as being an artist and a singer. And I've had a few people, well, more than a few, contact me about how their voice has deteriorated over the lockdown period, which is pushing over 8 weeks now, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's been a while. So why is this happening? Why is your voice deteriorating? There's one really straightforward answer. It's just not being used. So the muscle, the larynx muscle that houses the vocal cords, is not as flexible as it was at the start of lockdown, when you were mainly, I don't know, you were doing gigs 2 or 3 times a week, or you were rehearsing with your band, or you were talking to people a lot. There's not the flexibility in the muscle that there was, because it's just not being used. So normally, I would say, 95% of the time, that's what it will be if you're going through problems with your voice right now. Everyone immediately thinks, oh, it's something really serious, and it's just not really. Not many times is it desperately serious. And if it is, it kind of becomes massively apparent, the voice kind of lets you know. But basically, it's because you're just not using your voice. So just like a tennis player has not played a proper tennis game for, all these weeks, they couldn't go back on court tomorrow and win Wimbledon. It's just not going to happen. They need to get their stride back. They need to get back on form. So exactly like the larynx. So can you correct this? Yes, you can correct it. Not a problem. Does it happen overnight? Nothing happens overnight. Nothing at all. I'm quite lucky. I've been having quite a few online lessons. I've been doing a bit of recording. So I've been constantly using my voice, probably almost as much as I did pre-lockdown. But yes, it will come back. But singers, and notoriously, I count myself in this obviously as well, kind of wanting something to happen like that. It just doesn't. The body needs to realign again. So basically what we need to do is this larynx muscle here that houses your little vocal cords. That's where they live. God bless them. That needs to get its flexibility back. A bit like, as I say, legs getting their flexibility back if you're a runner, tennis player, whatever. So how can you do that? Well, first of all, you can do a few lessons every day. A few exercises. What I would suggest is that you don't think, oh, I'm going to set aside half an hour every day to do vocal exercises, because 9 times out of 10 you just won't do them. I always say to students, while the kettle's boiling, do a vocal exercise. While you're waiting for, your dinner to cook, do a couple of vocal exercises, because then you will be doing them throughout the day and you won't have to set aside this half hour, which may or may not happen. So try and do that. Try and keep it in mind. It shouldn't be a chore. Just do it when you've got a little bit of time to do it. So what we need to do first of all is make sure that you're taking in a breath properly for some of the exercises, but we'll get to that in a minute. One of the best exercises, although it sounds really straightforward, but it's a great exercise, especially if you're really croaky in the morning. What you really want to do is put your finger on your Adam's apple. Yes, women have got one too. It's just a little bit smaller and you can feel it. It's like a little lump there. And you want to hum from low to high and low to high and keep going up and down. And with your finger on your Adam's apple, feel what happens to the Adam's apple. So if you go, sounds strange, right? All my students laugh at me when I do vocal exercises, but I don't care, because my shame was sold out the door years ago. So what's happening to that Adam's apple if you do it? It should be going down when you go down, and it should be moving up when you move up. And that's your little muscle being pulled. So if you've lost some of your lower range, it means that you're not being able to relax that muscle as much as you were previously. If you're losing some of your higher range, it's because it's tightening at the top and the flexibility's gone there. So essentially, if you think your lower range has gone, normally your higher range has gone as well. So everything's coming down to a very, very sort of medium middle range. That is one of the best exercises you can do, because you can do it, you know, in the shower in the morning. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in the car. You know, it's just a humming exercise, up and down and up and down. And every time I'm trying to get it a bit lower and a bit higher. Interestingly, if your voice breaks at some point when you're going higher, that means that it's really not warmed up at all. So just bring it down. Don't go quite so high. Start and just try every day to make that move more out. So you're going a little bit higher, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. That will help massively get the flexibility back. There's loads of other exercises, loads. Again, my pupils, my students sort of laugh at me because I'm like, this vocal exercise is my number one. It's my number one go-to for many, many reasons. Basically, you can't perform it without breathing correctly, number one, so it makes you breathe correctly, genius. Number two, it flexes your larynx muscle, great. Number three, it warms you up hugely. And number four, it actually strengthens your voice. Number five, it actually increases your breath control. Like, what can be better? Do this exercise. Now, you will laugh when I do this. My pupils laugh when I do this. I'm used to being laughed at. Hashtag no shame. Okay, so what is it? It's a vocal trill. And what is a vocal trill? Well, some people call them lip rolls, vocal trills. If you YouTube it, there'll be like a million, you know, videos on it. But in my opinion, it's the best exercise. So what is it? It's this. It's blowing a raspberry. If you have braces or anything like that, that actually might make it so you can't do it very well. But you can actually push your lips together and force it. So there's no excuse, really. No excuses. So, lip trill. First of all, what did I say? It makes you breathe correctly. What do I mean? I mean, every time I ask someone to take in a deep breath, they do this. And they sort of blow up, like their face like this, their shoulders come up. And I think, what the hell is that? They've sucked in their stomach for utterly no reason I can think about, you know. And this is just about every student I've ever come across. And also my mother, when I was trying to get her to breathe properly because she's got asthma. Right, you're taking a breath like that, it's doing nothing for you. Your breath's going to here, and then it's just popping back out again. It's not actually going into your lungs properly because you've raised your shoulders like that. And you're restricting your lung movement by pulling in your stomach. We reverse it. Shoulders down. And it's like somebody's pressing down on your shoulders. You can actually get someone to press down on your shoulders, force them down. So a lot of people have trouble. It just can raise slightly, but just not a lot. So if you're taking a deep breath, when I say deep, I don't mean gulp the breath. We need a controlled breath intake. I always say, imagine that you're sucking in a thick milkshake. Sounds weird, but it works. And it's like if you make a sound at the same time. So if you go, and what happens then is, with shoulders with minimal movement, the air's going in controlled, it's going down, it's filling out your lungs, and your diaphragm has to move to accommodate the fact that the lungs are filling with air. If this isn't happening, if you don't feel your diaphragm coming out, it means that you're not taking in the breath correctly. Get someone to press down. There's other ways you can get that effect as well, but if I carry on now, we'll be here all day. So try and take in the breath correctly. Look in a mirror when you're doing it. Make sure these are staying down as much as possible. Put your hand on your stomach, just give it a whirl. Don't gulp in the breath, take it in slowly. If you can, keep trying to extend the amount of seconds you take in the breath, because it's really, really difficult and you can feel the expansion. So if you do it for like 3 seconds and go, you know, you can really feel the breath and the expansion in your stomach area. Okay, don't worry about pot bellies, we're all good. Okay, we've been eating too much in lockdown, it's fine. Okay, the exercise. Vocal trill. So we're taking in the breath. And what we should do is be taking into the breath as just a starter for 10 for a count of 2. So it's 1 and 2 and vocal trill. When you let out the trill, hand on your stomach. When you really feel like you're running out of breath, pull in your stomach. And that's going to try and squeeze any extra little bit of breath out of your lungs. Because what you're trying to do essentially with the vocal trill is lengthen the amount of time you can trill. So that's one exercise, just the and just hold it on for as long as you can. Do not collapse. The other thing to do with the trill is to get your larynx moving as well. So get it moving more. So to do exactly what we did with the humming, take it up and bring it down. Take it up and bring it down. So you're laughing, aren't you? I know you are. I would expect you to. Yes, it does sound ridiculous, but it does actually work. And it's an incredible workout. A lot of people say, oh, I feel really lightheaded after doing that. It's because it's probably the first time you took an actual real deep breath in a long, long time. So that's why people feel lightheaded. So don't worry if you're feeling lightheaded. That actually means that you're probably doing it right. So you've got a couple of exercises there. There are loads more. But if you just try every day, humming lower and higher and trying to make that gap as wide as possible, breathing correctly, doing the vocal trill, holding it on, doing a vocal trill, taking it up and down every time, trying to extend the range, trying to extend the length, your voice will come back. Do not run before you can walk. Keep trying to sing. Remember, always drink water, but it's got to be room temperature, not chilled. If you're a singer and you're going to sing, no chilled. If you're going to drink a lot of alcohol over this period, that will massively affect your voice and dehydrate it. So when you're not drinking loads of alcohol, drink loads of room temperature water. The worst thing is your vocal cords getting dehydrated. I know people are probably drinking more, and who can blame you? I can't. So when you feel better, start to try some of the songs that you found easy to sing. Do not go from this to singing the hardest song in your set. Just take it steady and it will come back bit by bit by bit, and your voice will let you know how it's doing. If you ever feel sore after you've been singing, you're not singing correctly. So don't. It means your breath is lacking and you're forcing the vocal cords together. So be careful. Your voice will come back. The body is amazing. It always recovers. You just got to give it time and be patient. Patience is not really one of my virtues, but I've had to make it so with my voice. So just be careful, be safe, and stay healthy. Keep singing.